Hello, I'm Minash Levinsky and you're watching Break the Fake. They make them, we break them, and tell you everything you need to know. And tonight we turn our attention to a curious and somewhat satisfying development involving some of Russia's so-called musical talents. Imagine a river, the Bug River, which not only serves as a natural border between Poland, Belarus and Ukraine, but also as the end of the line for Russian pop stars' influence. And boy, has that influence taken a nosedive recently. First up, we have Yaroslav Dromov, aka Shaman. This guy loves to press a big red button during his performances, symbolizing Putin's nuclear button. Because nothing says entertainment like the threat of nuclear annihilation, right? Joining him are the likes of Grigory Leps, who serenades invading Russian troops, and a whole bunch of others who traded their fame for Kremlin paychecks and sold their souls to Putin.
И хочется просто опять дышать, и мне другого не нужно. Такой, какой есть, и меня не сломать, и все потому, что я русский.
These artists who used to rake in extra cash from Western inventions like Spotify or YouTube have finally hit a wall. Or rather, they hit a ban. Yes, you heard that right. Shaman, Lyube, Polina Gagarina and several others have been wiped from Spotify. It's as if the digital world collectively decided to exorcise these Kremlin cronies from their platforms. The Russian publication Flow and the Telegram channel Rodnoy Zvuk confirmed the purge. Searches for these artists on Spotify now lead to empty pages. Polina Gagarina's Spotify profile, for instance, only has a live concert recording of Always on My Mind left, which she performed with Canadian singer David Foster. Attempts to find their songs result in blank screens, a digital ghost town, if you will. Earlier reports suggested their accounts were hacked, with Shaman's songs deleted and Gagarina's tracks renamed. Whether it was a hack or a deliberate ban, the result is the same. These purveyors of propaganda are finding their Western revenue streams drying up faster than a vodka bottle at a Russian state function. So let's all raise a glass, or perhaps a Spotify playlist, to celebrate the digital downfall of these musical marionettes. Because if there is one thing the world needs less of, it's songs glorifying an autocratic regime. Cheers! Now let's talk about a rising trend among populist leaders, dictators and other assorted despots, a sudden rather alarming interest in history. Our favorite historical enthusiast, Tsar Vladimir Putin, never misses a chance to justify his invasions with grandiose tales of why he must conquer half of Europe and a chunk of Asia. And now, following in his footsteps, we have Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, who decided that playing make-believe with medieval empires is the way to go. Yes, Orbán, in a bid to outdo his Kremlin idol, apparently has delved into the annals of history to cherry-pick facts that suit his agenda. His latest obsession? Carving out a piece of Ukraine, specifically Zakarpattia, and rebranding it as part of Greater Hungary. Because why not? Hungary has now joined Russia in the grand old game of territorial grab, at least on paper. Orbán's demands for Ukraine's EU accession negotiations read like a nostalgic wish list from a bygone era. Among his 11 points, he insists on recognizing any school with even one Hungarian class as Hungarian, eliminating percentage requirements for recognizing Hungarian territories, changing election laws to ensure Hungarian representation, and allowing some officials to use Hungarian instead of Ukrainian state language. Talk about reaching back to the so-called good old days. At a recent EU summit, Orbán approached President Zelensky. Unfortunately, the cameras didn't capture their conversation. But from the gestures, we can only speculate it went something like this. Listen, Volodymyr, it's nothing personal, just business. I want to make Hungary this big, and I need Zakarpattia for that. But hey, Volodymyr, drop by any time, there's always a little room for you. It's almost comical if it weren't so dangerously absurd. Orbán's demands are like a medieval wish list delivered with a 21st century smirk. But let's not kid ourselves. This isn't about nostalgia. It's a power play, plain and simple, dressed up in the garb of historical justice. So, here we are, with Putin dreaming of a resurrected Tsardom and Orbán yearning for the glory of medieval Hungary. If history teaches us anything, it's that those who fail to learn from it are doomed to repeat it. And in this case, it seems like they're eager to repeat it with a vengeance. Russia in particular has a medieval streak recently. At this attrition rate, I guess its forces may soon run out of Soviet-era tanks and roll out the catapults. Now, what do we know about Russian propaganda? It is everywhere, definitely. Some Russian propagandists are probably known to the whole world, including Solovyov, Skabeyeva and Simonian. We know that it's worked well on people who don't like to check the facts. And yes, of course, Russian propaganda is about lying. They were talking about taking Kiev in 3 days, and now it has been more than 2 years. But today, we bring you the funniest part of Russian propaganda, cringe videos. Let's take a look at the latest entry.
Ну что-то много еще?
Много. Но работу доделать надо. Надо доделать.
I wonder if these vehicles are real or CGI, again because of the attrition rate. In this video, Russians hint that Ukrainian Zaporizhia, Kherson and Chasiv Yar will be captured, as they are changing the names of cities to the Russian version. The funniest thing about this is that Kherson is exactly the same in Russian and Ukrainian, but Russians don't care about the logic, they just want to threaten everyone around them. But the worst thing about Russian propaganda is how they are normalizing lootings and killings in a sovereign country like Ukraine, for example. In the video, they talk about the need to finish their work. But how does the completion of Russian work look like in Ukrainian cities? Well, let's take a look at a video from the Ukrainian journalist and volunteer Denis Christov.
Приветствую! Кого-то надо вывести. Все добре, да? Без жертв тут. Бачите, цивільний будинок. Ну і церква, куди ще можуть бути росіяни? Она в Киеве, давайте я вас отвезу в Киев к ней.
Да нет,
Потому что капец. Сейчас обстреляли центр, уже жестко обстреляли.
не хочу я никуда. Не поеду я никуда, спасибо. Я готова на все. Я здесь буду, я не поеду. Олечка,
Да, это видео просто. Говорите, она вас, я потом отправлю.
ага. Оля, не переживайте за меня. Передавай Андрюшеньке привет и вот и Леночке. Пусть не переживает. Здесь линия фронта, поэтому связи нет, и света нет, и связи нет. Все наладится, все будет хорошо. Храни вас, Господи. Никуда я не поеду, не хочу я ехать никуда. Храни вас, Господи.
Ладно, береги вас Господь, давайте.
This is what Russia is doing to Ukrainian territory, destroying literally everything. You probably think, why doesn't this old woman from that video want to leave this city of Toretsk, which is now a hotspot on the Ukrainian front line? Try to think about this on a human level. This lady has lived in her city all of her life. Everything she has is in this town. And after Russia decided to liberate Ukrainian cities, her life is now hell, literally. This is one more war crime Russia is committing in Ukraine, and the list just keeps on growing. That's it on this episode of Break the Fake. Please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates.